Well, good morning and welcome back to the homestead on this beautiful Mother's Day 2021. Just kind of getting out here in the morning trying to get some stuff done before we head off to church, and I kind of want to give you a quick garden tour and kind of show a couple of things around and give you an update for this week on the homestead. First thing I want to kind of talk a little bit about is we did the meat birds last year and chicken tractors and moved them all over the yard. And let me turn you around and show you the grass and how green that is. I mowed it last week, and it actually needs to be mowed again. Whether I'm going to get around to actually doing that may be a next weekend job. It maybe get significantly taller, but it's definitely pretty green. So we'll show you that, and then we'll take a walk into the garden and see what we've got going there. So here's the lawn in the backyard anyway. This is where all the chickens were, and through all the tractors and stuff like that, and everything. Whereas we had a load of manure and stuff that was down on all of the tractors. It's definitely all come back and is all green. Inside the garden area still needs to be mowed. This little patch here that is kind of stuff, I'm dumping the water from the ducks in there on a regular basis, so I think that's kind of why that's a little bit brown there. And the rest of this is still, and that's just outside the chickens area where they will regularly throw the straw. But everything has come back, and I believe it's actually greener and thicker than it was last year. And in anticipation of that, I went and picked up this item for my riding lawnmower. Went ahead and picked up a grass catcher for that guy so that we can continue to use the grass to build compost instead of just laying on the grass, because it gets so thick that it's actually more than what I need to do. So far this morning we've come and done the chores. We've let all the chickens out. We've let the ducks out, and as of this morning we've got 2 duck eggs and 2 chicken eggs. We get anywhere from, I think we get 6 to 7 eggs a day just from the chickens, and then the ducks usually give 2 a day. Occasionally they'll only give 1. So that's where we're at there. Let's go over and go take a look in the garden. So here's a current shot of the garden. This first bed right here, I have planted that out in amaranth. And one thing about that, I was amazed that, the packet held 1,000 seeds, but I was not expecting those seeds to be as small as they were. That whole bed took the entire packet, but it's one of those, you put probably 10 seeds in a hole. I did, I used my seeds square seeder and did 9 holes per square, and I dropped them in there. The idea here is that I'm going to harvest the smaller ones. I'm going to eventually thin it down to 1 per square just for and use those for greens, and then let the other ones come up. But we'll see. These haven't sprouted yet, so we'll kind of see how well these go. And then this bed here, which is now, it's still all in the process of sprouting, but most of it has come up. That's my zipper cream peas from Haas Tools. Those are a black-eyed kind of pea. So this will be my first time growing these, and so we'll see how well that goes. And then this bed here, these are all green beans. They're bush bean. These are a Roma type of green bean. Those are a Landreth stringless green bean, which are, again, they're all bush beans. And then we had 2 here that were Henderson lima beans. Seeds were a couple years old, so it looks like we may have had some very poor germination. I've got some in here that I can still probably go plant some more, so I may go order some more seeds and come back and reseed and see what I can get in here. And then over here, this is okra and sunflower, and these kind of 3 rows here are all okra. And then we're looking at sunflowers there and all along. So I think the engine is gone now. Matter of fact, there goes the last part of the train there. So that's my okra and sunflowers there. This bed over here, I made one other addition to it. Here in the center, I put some eggplant. I had bought 4 eggplants, and one of them I was able to divide into 2. So that's from that one right there. So I ended up getting 5 in that row. I think that will be plenty there. And then the basil that's in here is all coming up pretty good. Right there, right there. I had split like 3 in a container and split them out, and they were not much in there, but they are definitely popping up and doing good now, to the point where I probably need to go ahead and start harvesting some of them and getting them thinned out. And here's my tomatoes. These are all aroma type tomato. And some of these are actually starting to get flowers. If you can kind of see that. So these are just kind of starting to put stuff out. And then this is my sweet pepper bed. I got 3 stevia there. And then these are all a sweet type pepper. This one, I think it kind of, it may have got hit by some hail the other day, but it looks like it's still coming back and doing all right. So these are all doing good. There are a couple of different types of sweet peppers. We've got some bell peppers and some, oh, what's the name of that? Cubanella peppers. This is my other bed here. Again, the basil is still doing pretty good here. I gotta think of something to put, if I can find some tomatillos, I may put some of those in the middle. Otherwise, I may come back and just try to seed something in there, just to kind of see what we can, take up the space. Haven't figured out what I want to do with that yet. And then here are my hot pepper. This is my hot pepper bed. Everything. Got a couple of items down here that aren't doing real well. That zinnia looks like it is flat, is dead. I probably need to pull it out. That one pepper there isn't looking too good either, so I'll probably have to pull it out as well. Some of these are just not looking real good, actually. Some of the leaves are not looking real well, so whereas we got these here, they're nice and green and doing good. The ones in the center, I'm not quite sure what's going on with some of that. It's kind of funny, the other day I hadn't watered it in a few days, and the rain was kind of doing its thing, and these are supposed to be chamomile, and they were flat. I gave them a little bit of water and they perked right back up. So those are looking good. And then this is my squash bed. I've got, what have I got in here? I've got a butternut squash, I got a spaghetti squash, I've got an acorn squash, I've got a yellow squash, and I've got a zucchini. And so this was in the compost. That's a celery right there. I saw him in the compost, saw his, starting to green up, and I was like, oh, what the heck? So this is a pure experiment. Let's see what happens with him. See if anything comes up, see if we can get anything off of him. And this little tomato plant, I think something ate him. He had picked all the leaves and stuff like that, but he's starting to actually grow some newer ones back. So he's kind of starting to come back. So we'll see how well he goes along the way. And these two guys are actually doing pretty good. I think they're still in the process of, getting some good roots and stuff down, so they'll start growing here. But they actually look better now than when I actually planted them. So we'll see how well they go. And then this is, I'm calling my seed garden. We've got rutabagas going to seed there, and we've got the black nebula carrots here. I've got some watermelon radishes in here that are doing pretty good, but there's also a ton of weeds in here. Grass that came up from the straw that I need to pull up, but I'll have to pull the grass up at the same time I go harvest all of these radishes. So I'm going to give them a little bit more time before I go harvest them. And then this guy right here, I believe that's dill. I happened to see him yesterday when I was, or a couple of days ago when I was pulling out some of the weeds, and happened to see him. I'm like, huh. But we'll leave him there and see what happens, and hopefully he'll come up. And my peas along the backside, they are all definitely starting to flower. I've got a few peas. Matter of fact, I got one, I don't know if you can see it there. That one right there, those are the green peas. And then these yellow, these are M.I. Gardner's snow yellow, I think, and there's a ton of peas. I need to come out here and harvest a bunch of these guys. But I think these guys might also almost be done. We'll kind of see how well these guys, there's tons of flowers, tons of snow peas on them. And so they're doing pretty good. And we'll kind of check in on the carrots and stuff as well. Follow us along on Seed Saving Wednesday for the carrots, and we'll see where we're at with that. And speaking of carrots, we harvested most of these out yesterday, and we've got a ton of flowers coming on all of these guys. Well, that's where I think there's more and more seed, flower pods every single day. They put out a ton of them once they start to bolt. And this is my beet. And I think that's what it looks like when it gets ready to go to seed. I think that's going to be what it looks like there. I've not seen this before, so that's what we're looking at there. And then my garlic is definitely, it's about ready to harvest. I picked a couple yesterday, and I will put that picture in here. But these are definitely ready to go ahead and harvest. And I'll probably maybe give it a couple more weeks, and we'll kind of go from there. And we've got our onions. A couple of these are going to obviously be held over for seed, but we've also got a bunch of them. I'll probably get out here a little later on today and harvest some of these, because you can kind of see some of them are definitely falling over, and which means they're ready to be picked. So I'll get out here later today and get some of these picked. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And of course, we've got our volunteer wheat. It's still in there doing pretty good as well. Hopefully that survives the harvesting of the garlic when that comes. So we'll see what happens there. So this is just another view of the garden here. So anyway, that's the tour of the garden on this Mother's Day 2021. And we're gonna go out, take my wife out to eat after church and stuff, and go take care of some of that. And I'll probably come do some more yard work in here a little bit later, but I kind of want to give you a tour for this weekend. So treat your mothers right, take them out to dinner, go get them flowers and a card, and we'll see you on the next video. God bless, and we'll see you next time.